Sirius XM. This is the Opie and Anthony Show.
Got Rob Delaney coming into the studio.
Yeah.
Voted pretty much the king of Twitter.
Twitter king?
You're the Twitter king, Rob.
Yeah.
Voted the king of Twitter, Rob Delaney.
Take a seat.
Hey, pals.
Hey, pals.
How you doing, man?
All right.
Playing Caroline's?
Yeah, tonight through Sunday.
Nice.
I assume that
Oh,
because
boy,
Greg
stupid
Charles
Mike.
is with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every time we see Greg Charles.
The wonderful Greg
Oh,
Charles.
yeah, you know what? He really takes
That
care of
guy.
us, so I should shut my mouth.
But you just see, Greg never
Smells
moves.
good.
He does smell good.
Yeah.
But you never see him. He's just always kind of like lurking like a lawn jockey. Like you'll walk into the lobby and there's Greg Charles. You're like, someone's here.
Drinking something.
Yeah, drinking
Who
some
are you
beverage.
kidding? Right.
What a creep. Have you done the gig before or no?
Never. I've never been in the building.
Caroline's?
So I'm excited to do it.
You've never done Caroline's?
I never have, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know why. You know, there's some places you just don't do
Right,
them,
right.
and then you do them.
Yes.
Is this your first New York trip or no?
No.
Wait, where are you from originally?
I grew up in Boston, but I went to NYU, but I've lived in L.A. for the last 12 years.
Oh, shit. Okay.
What'd you major in?
Musical theater.
Can you sing?
Oh, yeah. I don't know about this early. But, I really did. And I know people hear that now, and they're like, for real? And I just did. That's what I studied, except my senior year, I started going to see comedy, and I was like, I don't want to do musical theater anymore. But then I started to get jobs in musical theater. But then I was in a big car accident, and when I got out of that, I was like, I'm just going to do comedy.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How bad was the car accident?
Real bad. I drove into a building. I drove into the Department of Water and Power in L.A. Very fast.
Probably a stout building.
Yeah.
That sounds like,
building.
It's not like the Little Pigs
It wasn't like
house or
a
anything.
pop-up Quonset hut.
Yeah.
It was an actual stone built with mortar. And so I drove into it. And
Why?
I was drunk. I don't remember doing it. I was in a blackout, and I got sober right after that. I had been trying to quit drinking for years, and then I did that, and I was like, I'm going to get sober. And then after I got out of jail and hospital and wheelchair, I was like, I'm going to do...
Wait, jail, hospital, wheelchair.
Then I
what were the
decided
injuries?
I broke both my arms pretty badly, and my legs, they weren't broken, but they were in like... these leg thing. I couldn't bend my knees because they did surgery on them as well, and so I was a mess. I was in jail in a wheelchair covered in blood. My penis and testicles would expose themselves periodically in jail when I slid out of my wheelchair.
Boy.
But then once I got better, I said, "Oh wow, I'm alive," because it was sort of a surprise. Then I decided to just start doing stand up.
How long were you in jail for?
Not long at all. Not even 24 hours. Because they were like, then I had a court date, and the judge said, how was jail? Do you like it? And I said, I didn't care for it. He said, because you have to go back, or you can go to a halfway house and rehab and all that stuff. And I said, I'll do that. So for 4.5 months, that's where I lived, per the state of California's orders. And it was great. I actually enjoyed it a lot.
How long ago is this now?
11 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a ways back.
Did you have fun at least the night you were
I
like,
did.
drinking and
I
partying?
totally did.
As long as you got that to
I
take with
remember
you.
the night, too. I remember there was a girl named Juna at this
That's
party. Like,
good.
that's a fun name. And,
Cool.
and I was like, I like you. and then she was like, well, just go stand in that corner. And I was like, okay. And I remember I had a big, I had like a solo cup, like having a keg party. And we drank all the beer. Then I drank all the wine. And then I took a bottle of bourbon and a bottle of vodka, and I just poured it up to the top, which if you don't drink, I'll just tell you, that's not actually a drink. That's not a cocktail. And I drank that all the way down. And then I remember halfway through my second one, my brain just turned off.
Yeah.
But my body didn't. My body was like, no, we should still party. And
that's bad.
anyway, that was all a long time ago, and I'm glad that it happened because it led to me being here with you guys today.
Yeah, we're just getting to know you.
Those blackout stories are amazing.
One other question. Did they ever tell you how fast they think you were going when you hit the building?
You know, I have a pretty detailed police report that I'll pull out whenever I move or whatever, and I'll find it. I don't think I was going ridiculously fast, honestly. But you know what? I do know I took out 3 parking meters and 2 trees on the way into the building. So it had to be. So it wasn't like first gear.
Like fucking 30,000 pounds of bananas by Harry Chapin. You ever hear that song when he describes the wreck?
Yeah.
Wow, it's a fucking great blackout story, man. People wake up, they have no idea what the fuck happened to them.
The worst. Just the worst.
And
Broken arms. Ugh.
And you always knew you wanted to do stand-up.
Yeah, well, I always loved comedy as a kid, and we'd listen to Cosby albums on road trips with my family and stuff, but it was my senior year in college when I started to attend comedy and be around comedians and feel them and smell them and feel the contours of their body. Then I knew that I was like, I got to do this. This is it. This is because acting is fine, but you're saying things that other people wrote, and then once you produce laughter out of other people's bodies with things that you thought up, that's it forever. I mean, that's it until you die, whether it's next week or in 100 years.
Right.
So musical theater, like like Nathan Lane. I was just thinking today, like Nathan Lane. Like, it's really hard to make a living, it seems, or be a star purely from doing that.
Oh, God, yeah.
He's one of the only guys, it seems, to be like a national name who just makes his life.
Fucking Ferris Bueller's doing a pretty good job too.
Yeah.
He's just out
Broderick,
there.
Yeah,
he's just out there doing a lot of
song and dance.
Yeah, song and dance.
Yeah.
But he was a movie star first, though. Like I mean, didn't he?
As a kid, yeah.
Yeah, we knew him already from Glory and.
Yeah. Incredible. It's fun. On the plane here yesterday, I watched Hugh Jackman was on Inside the Actors Studio, and it was like 50%. I was like, shut your fucking mouth. Like the most annoying. Like if you can imagine like a 17-year-old girl being like, I'm nuts about musicals. Like that. He was 50% that, but then 50% like so inspiring that I was like almost crying on the plane. Like every other thing he'd say, I'd be like, you just fucking should get hit by a car. And then the other time I'd be like, I love you, Hugh. Like it was the weirdest dichotomy. I've never felt that way about a person. I must be love. I think I'm in love with Hugh Jackman.
He is one of those people, too, that's just like two different people. I hadn't known him from anything before, X-Men, Wolverine.
Other than a similar lifestyle.
So you see that, and it was like, fuck, this guy is badass.
Yeah.
And then it's like, here he is at the Tonys.
Yeah.
And I'm looking going, hey, who the fuck is that? Get out of here. Come on.
Same guy, crazy.
He's like skinny, and he's, hey, guy, very questionable on the sexuality portion of it when I saw that.
Well, who? I think he's probably just sexually more evolved than anybody. He's like, well, I'll fuck it, and I'll fuck it good, whatever it is. I don't care. It's probably, and I'll do it well.
A true renaissance.
So I salute him.
Yes.
It leads us to the board game.
Yeah.
What? Is that what you're promoting besides the stand-up gig at Caroline's?
Yeah.
Good for you.
And I know it's insane, but a few months ago, a board game company approached me, because I write a lot of jokes on Twitter, and I've written like 15,000 of them by now. And
you're great on Twitter.
Thank you very much.
Has to be said publicly.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but
you're one of the good ones, man.
I have a sickness where if I'm not on stage, I have to be like jerking off onto my phone screen trying to make people laugh, and so or writing jokes on it. And the board game company approached me and said, "Hey, could we make a game out of your tweets?" And I was like, I've never said yes faster, because if you think about, like, obviously we all love comedy, but like if you're like playing game night and stuff, like you can like throw up from laughing if you're playing like with your relative. I mean, you get in a fist fight. Like it's such an awesome experience. So the idea that any of my jokes could be even peripherally involved with like something like that, I said I was so excited. Yeah.
What is can we, I have not, I briefly took the board out before.
But you got to explain the board.
There was a picture of you in your Twitter photo.
Yeah. An upsetting
which is
image.
The green, actually, the fucking awful green bathing suit.
Yeah.
Which highlights Rob's cock. But,
you can tell that I'm circumcised, which is such a bummer. I have two sons, and we didn't circumcise them, and I see their cute little penises when I change their diapers, and I envy them.
I feel the same way, man.
Yeah, my parents cut off half my dick and threw it in the garbage. I want it back.
I'm kind of annoyed that I'm clipped.
Yeah, you'd probably
really?
be pissed
Why?
then if you were. Because the foreskin's always greener. You're probably thinking, like, if you weren't circumcised, you'd be like, yeah.
But it's supposed to be better as long as you keep it clean and shit. It's supposed to be fucking better. Like, I hate the fact that the head of my cock is all exposed. I would love to have a nice sheath covering it.
Really? You're not going into battle with it.
No, I know, but you've seen the way I abuse it.
Then we could dock and everything.
Yes. It's very hard to dock.
So the reason I asked this, and I wanted to wait till you were here, is because I took it out. It's called War of Words.
Yep.
But there's these weird little...
Okay, those are the game pieces.
Oh, they are? Okay.
And since we're on radio, I'll say the game pieces, we've got a van that says SS Butt Toucher on it. We've got a nice wizard hat, a ham sandwich, a cup of coffee, and an alarm clock that says it's 4:20 with a marijuana leaf and a big red circle with a slash around.
Now, do they consult you on this, or do they just?
Yeah,
make
those were my choices. In fact, those game pieces. Yeah.
Oh,
so they said you leave it a part of it.
Yeah. So I was involved. Like I would do test plays and stuff. I mean, all the jokes in it are mine, but the scaffolding or the skeleton of it was designed by people who actually know how to make games, not by an idiot, me. But yeah, basically, you just roll a dice, and depending on what you roll, it decides if you're going to like have to finish a joke of mine, if you're going to have to try to one-up it or tag it or whatever, and things like that. So, and there's a subjective element where the people watching or playing with you can be like, yeah, no, Rick's was better. Even if it wasn't, you can just be like, fuck you, I prefer Rick. So that's what the good stuff. So if you're playing with your mom or whatever, you know, she might wind up slapping you because you picked your Aunt Susie instead of her.
Then you got
to me, that's a game. Yeah, and then you punch your mom. And any game where you're not punching your mom is a shitty game. That's why, like, have you ever heard of Candyland? You haven't, right? Yeah, it's because you don't punch your mom when you play. That's an old classic.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Shoots and ladders.
I love Shoots and Ladders. Oh, drat.
Poop Shoots and Ladders. You got it. Yep. Maybe.
Parcheesi. Who hasn't called their grandmother a cunt over a game of Parcheesi?
I wish I could say I hadn't.
So, okay, there's 3 different colors. Okay, so people will land on a joke and then have to finish it?
Yeah, and then the cool part is there's just a fat deck of my cards, which you could even just take into the toilet and read. You know, there's 3 jokes per page, and or I guess card. A card is like a tiny page.
Yes, it is. That's wow. That's a lot of jokes.
Yeah, there's a lot of jokes in there.
Cool, man. Fuck.
A board game.
It's very
basic. Bananas. Somebody sent me on Twitter. They were like, somebody was like, I've been trying. They were like, first of all, fuck you for making a board game, and I said, you're correct. Fuck me. Why did I do that? And then they said the only other comedian I could find who did that was Rodney Dangerfield, and so you know that'll work. That's
You're in
fine
good
with
company.
Me. Yeah.
What was this board game?
Was it like
I
don't get no respect?
Yeah, no
I'm
respect.
sure it's called Get No Respect.
Yeah.
By Milton Bradley.
Milton Bradley. Play the Rodney Dangerfield game.
See if you can get respect from your boss.
Right, exactly.
I landed on Dr. Vinny Bombaz.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Is there a commercial for it?
And of course it's called No Respect.
No respect.
Yeah.
It had to be No Respect.
His album, he had a double album, which was very funny. It was called No Respect and Son of No Respect were the 2 records on it. It was like a
Masterpieces.
Really?
It's hilarious.
Fucking masterpieces.
Our claim to fame, we got Rodney High.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yep.
back at NEW.
Back at WNEW.
Oh, right.
A guy
That's
that works
amazing.
here for another radio show, Stinky, would bring our guests into the stairwell, and Rodney partook that day. Yes.
His albums you can just listen to right now in 2013, and they would just lacerate anything else. Just so amazing.
We went and saw him. He performed at Avery Fisher Hall, and what did we have in 2001 or something?
Somewhere around there.
And me and Florentine went just to be in the same room with him, like because he was at that point. Remember, he was like, it was hard to understand him because he had he smoked a lot of dope.
He was starting to slow down.
Yeah, he was starting to slow down, but fucking just seeing him in that room and watching him, you're like, it's Rodney.
I heard a
You should have
story.
him on again.
I heard a story. His wife started feeding him the jokes.
Oh, through his earpiece, yeah.
Through an earpiece, and he was still killing it because he was at a point where he wasn't remembering his shit anymore. So she would read him off stage, and he would fucking perform them.
Yeah, I heard that too. That he would walk in the pool in Vegas and just do his act back and forth in the pool. Like I guess at that age, his mind was just going. You know?
Right.
In his 80s, smoke pot every day.
He had a great run.
My wife and
Rodney
I
had a
saw
great run.
Cosby recently live. Amazing.
Where'd you see him?
Still amazing, huh?
Yeah, he was. He was. He wasn't like a samurai sword anymore, but he's still very, very good. He did 2 hours. In those 2 hours, he did 6 jokes. I'm not joking. They were each about 20 minutes in length. And what he does is he just tells an amazing, ridiculously detail-rich story. Right. And at the end, he just grabs your neck and fucking snaps it as he ties it all together in a way that nobody before or since fucking ever did. Just amazing.
He made me listen to him talk about skiing for 40 minutes. That was one of his bits when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Just about skiing with a million fucking jokes in there.
Just unbelievable.
Great storyteller.
I saw him with my ex actually in Atlantic City, and we watched him. And he opened up with the story he opened with was doing okay. You could tell it was new. Like this is a comic. He was feeling it out.
Yeah. Right.
Opened with it, and then it was going well. He was having like a 6, but then he just went into the next one and started murdering and you're like, oh, he can get a laugh whenever he really wants to. Like whenever he's not getting a laugh, it's because he's probably experimenting with something. But when he wants a laugh and goes, okay, it's time now to turn it up. it was fucking effortless.
You know what I was struck by in this show that we just very recently saw was he wore sweatpants, the grossest sandals over socks, and like a graphic T-shirt tucked in, and he just goes out and like clips the mic on his shirt and sits down like your slobbiest grandfather, like your grandfather's friend who'd come over and you'd be like, "Fuck, why is he here?" And then just killed everybody. It was amazing.
That's right. He walks out and just clips on his mic.
Yeah.
Isn't there no intro or something? He just walks on stage.
Just walks right out.
Just walks right out.
Yeah.
But we got to meet him afterwards. We got to. Did you talk to him?
I was fortunate to be able to do that. Yeah.
He fucking receives people. I met him briefly, got a photo with him. So I'm like, can I get him to sign it? I didn't think he'd invite. He didn't remember me, but they brought us back, and he just sat us, me and my girlfriend, in his dressing room and talked to us for about 20 minutes. And then other people were coming in, and he, because I was a comic, he's like, "Oh no, stay." Like he seemed like he wanted somebody else there because he had to talk to these fucking business people.
Oh God!
But it was weird.
That's cool.
He listens, like he asks you questions.
Yeah. He asked my wife. He knew my wife grew up in North Carolina. He knew way more about North Carolina than she did. He just was. It was amazing. Yeah, he cared and listened, and it made me realize. And you know what he said to me? He goes, he's like, well, he's like, you got a very beautiful wife here. He goes, just make sure you keep her the higher priority over your comedy, and then you'll be better at comedy. He's like, you have her be priority number one, and your kids, and then way off in the distance, you can barely see it, is your comedy career. And I was like, okay, and I sort of laughed a little bit. He goes, don't laugh. And
shit.
And he was like, he made me say it out loud that I would keep my family above my comedy career, and it was kind of like,
what a power trip.
chills. Yeah. And then now my wife lives with him, which
Yeah, that's the main. I think that's why he's a great comic, because he listens well. Like he observes everything, and that's why he tells a story well, because he fucking is a sponge. Like he just soaks in information, and you have no idea when he's going to use it. He's probably on stage now talking about me.
no doubt.
He was a terrible comic. Awful Cosby impression.
I like the fact that your game doesn't have batteries or a pop-o-matic or anything. That's
it is
basic.
in that sense. And if you like Trivial Pursuit, you'll notice the box is kind of the same shape.
Yeah, a little square thing.
Big thick square.
Yeah,
it's not your traditional Monopoly long box.
More cubal.
Has it sold?
It has started to. It's exclusively through Amazon right now, and I'm told that what they do is they figure out all their weird algorithms and stuff, and then like a few weeks after it's out, which it just came out, then they'll start to sell it. So
you plug it on Twitter and
yeah. And frankly, I hope people buy it, but if they don't, I still got a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like, oh, I hope I make money on a board game. I'm not a crazy person. I was just like, it's an honor to have it.
It's so cool
hope
to
people play it, and people write me and say that they are playing it. So good, great.
It is pretty cool to have a game, fucking name on it.
Are you the only one on Twitter that doesn't have haters?
Oh, I have so many haters. So many visceral, hatred that could power a city. It's amazing. Now, most people, and more than 50% of people are nice, kind, funny.
Exactly.
Like, I'll do a joke and they'll write something back to me that's like 10 times funnier. So I feel good about humanity generally because of Twitter, but still because of the number of followers that I have, the number of people who hate me and want me to die are very high and big, and it's a robust organization.
Boy, and they just
Wait, what is the problem they have?
Claw your eyes out for.
But what is the problem they have with you? Why?
Oh, last night somebody wrote me. And they said, "What would you do if you were doing an open mic and every comic before you was a misogynist?" And I wrote back, I was like, "I would get up and I would take a deep breath for them on a stage and I would lacerate them in a fun and funny way, and because that'd be a shitty, boring show, And then I just talked about how I think I think women are filthy and dynamic, just like men. And I think if something isn't funny, if it's funny to a group of men and it's not funny to a group of women, it's probably not as funny as it could be. It's like egalitarian. You want to be like Pryor or Carlin would be fucking outrageous, and women would be like, yay! Yeah. And so I think so I wrote that, and then people wrote me back and were like, fucking faggot, and I'd be like, they've got to be kidding, and then I'd look and they totally weren't,
no,
and I'd like how how dare you, you know, and just ridiculous. God. So, but the thing is you can find we live in an amazing world, and the internet allows you to connect to all these people. You can focus on the scumbags, of which there are myriad, or you can focus on the good people. I try to do that more, because, yeah, there will always be garbage people, but fuck them. They can choke to death.
I think it's a pretty accurate depiction of society. Yeah. Yeah, you look at the numbers and think, like, yeah, I bet there's that many scumbags per good person out there.
And how many followers you got now?
Like 850,000.
Heading toward a mill.
Wow. 859?
You're about to, yeah.
It's a funny account, too, man. Like,
860.
It really is rare that I read Twitter and laugh out loud, but there's been a few things you've written that I was like, fucking... Like that I just laughed at, and I don't laugh out loud at tweets ever. But
well,
fuck,
thank
man.
you.
And your avatar is just famous now.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
It's just famous. You can't change that one.
Well,
that damn avatar pops up everywhere.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of guys will write me and be like, "Hey, I want to follow you, but I ain't looking at that fucking picture." And I'll be like, then you'll never follow me. I mean, the more people hate it, the harder I affix it to my profile.
I never understood that too. I ain't fucking there'd be a funny video you want to put a link to from YouTube or something like that, and you know there might be something. Maybe a little homoerotic at the beginning of it, but the payoff is there. It's something, and it's like, dude, I made it through 2 seconds of that. I can watch that fucking homo shit.
Wow.
And you're like,
I don't have mirrors in my own bathroom. I don't want to see my own penis.
It's like you're missing out on something that has nothing to do with you being a faggot. Don't worry. Oh boy, don't worry.
Doesn't that seem exhausting?
It does
to
seem
live
exhausting.
that way.
Yeah. I do it with black people though. So you know, we all have our crosses to burn. Yes.
Yes. They're telling us, is Crispin here?
Yeah, we got Crispin Glover.
Oh my God!
Oh, there he is.
I can't even believe it.
He's right outside the studio.
Oh, I love him so
Crispin?
much.
He looks great. He looks like a professor.
Should we just bring him in?
Like
Should
we break?
Should we break?
Do we have
to
to break?
take a single.
All right, we should take a break. All right.
Let me plug Rob properly. RobDelaney.com, DELANEY, and obviously Rob Delaney on Twitter. He's at Caroline's tonight, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. 212-757-4100, and really funny. I walked in and saw him at the cell last night. He was fucking murdering. So
so were you? Yeah, you went right after me.
That crowd was fantastic.
They really were.
You were killing when I walked in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, brother. Really, really funny.
And Rob Delaney on Twitter, of course.
Yes.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you,
Right
sir.
back.
Crispin Glover next.
You're listening to the Opie and Anthony Show. The Opie and Anthony Show. Sirius